All right, so today, let's dive into something I'm pretty sure we've all thought about at some point, right? Making money online. And not just like, a little side hustle, but like really exploring what's out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Luckily, we've got this really awesome PDF someone sent in, How to Earn Money Online, a comprehensive guide.
I was going to say, comprehensive is an understatement.
Right.
It's got everything from the stuff everyone's heard of to some really, really niche ideas I bet most people haven't.
Yeah, no kidding. Like the first thing that jumped out at me was freelancing. I mean, that's not new, but just how global it is now, right?
That's right. You don't have to be tied to one place anymore at all.
Exactly. And with more companies going remote, it seems like everyone's looking for freelancers with specific skills.
Oh, for sure.
And speaking of specific skills, there's this whole section on, what's it called? Niche freelancing.
Right.
They even give examples like legal stuff, finance, even blockchain. Can you believe it?
That's all about supply and demand, really. Think about it in the online world. If you've got a skill not many people have, but people need.
You can charge a premium for it. Makes sense.
Exactly. Like, imagine you're not just a freelance writer, you're a lawyer who specializes in, I don't know, blockchain contracts or something. Suddenly, you're not competing with everyone who can write a blog post.
You're the go-to person for a very specific thing.
Exactly.
So, okay, this is all really interesting, but let's talk numbers. What's the earning potential like for these niche freelancers? I mean, can you actually make a living doing this?
Well, the guide mentions an hourly rate, anywhere from like $20 an hour to over $100.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. It all comes down to your niche, how much experience you have, and of course, who you're working with.
Right. Finding those high-paying clients is probably key, like any business, I guess.
Absolutely. You got to treat it like a business. Marketing yourself, presenting yourself professionally. The guide talks a lot about that. Building a strong online presence and all that.
Right, right. And speaking of online presence, that's a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to ask about. The whole blogging and YouTube route, which is also covered in the guide. But I mean, it's not as simple as just posting a video and raking in the cash, right?
No, definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes real effort. The guide really emphasizes putting out consistent, high-quality content that actually connects with your audience, building a community around something you're passionate about. That's what these successful folks do. Anyway.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. It takes time. But if you're passionate and you're patient, it can really pay off.
Okay, so how does it actually pay off? Besides the obvious ad revenue, I mean.
Well, there's ad revenue, of course, but there's a whole bunch of other ways bloggers and YouTubers are making money, ebooks, online courses, even getting sponsored by companies. It's about finding different ways to monetize what you're already doing, I guess.
That makes sense. It's like finding what works for you and your audience.
Totally. And, it goes back to that niche expertise we were talking about earlier. Like, what are you passionate about that you could turn into content? Could be anything, from knitting to explaining science.
Right, right. And YouTube especially, it seems like there's an audience for pretty much anything these days. Which reminds me, the guide mentions something called the YouTube Partner Program. What's that all about?
So that's the program that lets you actually start making money from ads on your videos.
Okay. So how do you get into this partner program?
Well, you need at least 1,000 subscribers and then like 4,000 hours of watch time in the past year. So it's not instant.
Right. Got to put in the work first.
Yeah. But once you're in, you get a share of the ad revenue from your videos.
Interesting. So whether it's freelancing, blogging, or this YouTube thing, consistency and quality seem to be key.
Absolutely. And patience. Building a following and then turning it into a real income stream, that takes time.
For sure. But it sounds like it's definitely possible.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, this is all fantastic information, but I'm really curious about some other avenues for online income as well. This guide really does make you think about all the possibilities out there, huh? Like, the next section is perfect for anyone who's, passionate about sharing what they know, online tutoring and teaching.
Oh, yeah, that whole world is just blowing up right now.
Right. And the guide even says you don't necessarily have to be like a certified teacher or anything to get into it.
Definitely not. There's such a demand for accessible, personalized learning these days. It's amazing.
It's interesting. There seems to be a theme here. Like, you don't always need those traditional credentials to be successful online.
Right.
It's more about having that real expertise in something specific.
Right. Like the guide mentions platforms. I think one was VIP Kid and then Chegg Tutors. They connect tutors with students from all over the world.
So they take care of all the logistics. You just show up and teach. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Makes it way easier to get started, even if you've never done anything like it before.
Definitely lowers the barrier to entry, for sure. And then, if you really want to level up, it talks about creating and selling your own online courses.
Now that's where it gets really interesting.
Right. Like Udemy, Teachable, all those. It's like packaging your knowledge into something people will actually pay for.
That's it, yeah. Like, what could you teach? Could be gardening, coding, whatever. If you're good at something, there's probably a course in it.
Seriously. So we've covered like building a presence, right? Whether it's freelancing or content. But what about people who want, I don't know, some quicker wins A&D, build toward that more passive income stuff?
Oh, yeah, the guide's got that covered too.
Yeah.
Like, affiliate marketing is a big one. Basically, you're promoting other people's stuff and getting a cut if anyone buys through your link.
Oh, right. So if you've already got a blog or a following in a certain niche.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
You recommend products you actually like and potentially make some money off it.
Makes sense. And then there's, the classic selling your own products online.
Yep, setting up your own shop, or even this thing called drop shipping. Have you heard of that?
Drop shipping. Yeah, it's always sounded kind of interesting, but I don't totally get it.
So basically, you have an online store, but you don't actually keep any of the products yourself.
Yeah.
You partner with a supplier, and they handle all the storage and shipping and stuff. You're just handling the website, the marketing,
So you're like a middleman, but you never even touch the product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Way less risky when you're starting out, especially if you're not sure what's going to sell well.
That's really smart, actually.
It's a whole system. And of course, no online income guide would be complete without the holy grail, passive income streams.
Right. The dream. Earning money while you sleep. But I have a feeling it's not quite that easy.
Well, the guide doesn't sugarcoat it. It says most passive income requires a good amount of work up front.
Right. So it's not like money just magically appears in your account.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
You got to put in the effort to build those streams. Could be creating digital products, building up an affiliate marketing empire, takes strategy.
So it's more like planting seeds that will hopefully become money trees later on.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
This is why I like this guide, though. It's realistic. It's not just pushing those get-rich-quick schemes,
Totally.
It's about finding the right fit, right? Like, not every online money-making thing is going to be right for every person.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, hearing about all these different options, I'm kind of overwhelmed. I bet our listeners are too. Like, okay, which one do I pick?
It's the million-dollar question. And the guide doesn't pretend to have a one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
But it does give some good criteria to think about. How much risk are you comfortable with? How much time do you actually have? And maybe most importantly, what are you actually good at and enjoy doing?
Because if you're going to build something from the ground up, that passion is going to be what keeps you going, right?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, passion is key for sure. But, sometimes you need to make some money, like right now, even while you're working on those bigger goals.
Right, got to pay the bills.
Exactly.
Well, the guide actually talks about that too, some quick win kind of things. Online surveys, those cashback apps, even those, what are they called, micro tasks?
Okay, so maybe not going to make you rich, but...
Not overnight, no.
But hey, little extra cash is a little extra cash, right? Especially if it's something you can do like here and there in your spare time.
That's the thing, yeah. Lower earning potential, but also way easier to get started. Good way to dip your toes in, see if online work is even for you.
And who knows, maybe you try some random microtask thing and discover a whole new interest,
There you go, you never know.
All right, so we've got the quick wins, but this guide, it doesn't stop there. It circles back to something we were talking about before, how there's this huge demand now for good online content.
Oh, yeah.
And this last section is all about freelance writing and content creation.
Makes sense. Every website needs content, blog posts, social media stuff, you name it. And the guide even mentions some platforms, Textbroker, Writer Access. Are those the ones that connect writers with clients?
They are, yeah. Like a digital marketplace. So even if you're just starting out as a writer, you can find gigs, build your portfolio.
Get some experience.
Exactly. Wow, we have covered so much ground today. Freelancing, content creation, drop shipping, even those quick win things. I mean, it's kind of amazing how many ways there are to make money online now, isn't it?
It's a whole world out there. And honestly, this is just scratching the surface. Who knows what new opportunities will be around next year, even next month? It changes so fast.
It's exciting and a little overwhelming, right? Like standing at the edge of this huge digital frontier. So if I had to sum up this entire deep dive into one question for our listeners, it would be this. If the internet is a giant marketplace, what are you going to offer that makes you stand out?
What skills, what passions, what knowledge do you have that can translate into something unique and valuable online?
That's the real question. And while our dive ends here, hopefully this is just the beginning of your own exploration. Don't forget to check out the show notes for links to everything we talked about. Until next time, keep on diving.